Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my beautiful friend Maria Elena Arias here. She agreed to chat with me for a couple of minutes about expired listings because it's always been an incredible source of business, and now it's even more. So Maria Elena, just so they know all your experience, how long have you been in real estate?
34 years only.
34 years. Yes. Yeah, she's 35. So yeah, she since she was a baby, yes. Just like me, not 35, 26. So started very young. No, just kidding. Thank you again, Marilena. So with 34 years of experience in real estate and coaching and working with agents, because I know you have a lot of experience that way, what are your thoughts for the viewers on expired listings? I mean, to me, it's the single easiest way to take a listing. What do you say to agents that are watching this that have never called an expired?
Well, Jackie, thank you for asking me. So I think that most agents are afraid of cold calling, and
Yes.
that fear factor takes over. And the reason that they're afraid is because they really don't know what to say, how
Yep.
to say it, and how to get the appointment.
Yep.
So role playing, practicing it, having someone so amazing like you
Hmm.
to be able to have a program that allows agents, and I have my agents coming onto your your trainings and your
Yep.
programs,
Yep.
is a godsend for me as a manager that
Yep.
I can send them over to the expert.
Oh, thank you. Well, and what you said is perfect because it's fear of the unknown, right? Okay, so I'm going to call this expired listing and I have no idea what to say. I don't know what they're going to say and how I would respond to that. So it's normal to have some hesitation on that. So, an expired listing, what is it and why do I believe it's one of the best sources of listings for agents out there? Here's a seller who had their house listed with an agent, maybe for 6 months, maybe less than that. Let's call it 6 months. And the house didn't sell. And today, the status in your MLS changes from active to expired. So you already know that seller wanted to sell. That house was for sale until yesterday. So when you call them, first of all, I don't want to put more fear into the agents that are not calling expireds, but when you call an expired listing, they get a lot of calls from real estate agents. Marilena, you're in Miami like me. There's more agents here than anywhere else. So you're not going to be the only one calling, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But here's why. Why are so many agents calling? Because they know that this is the hottest prospect they can speak with, a brand new expired. So if you're a new agent watching this, or you're an experienced agent watching this, and you are not calling expireds, my goal today in this conversation with Marilena is to help you understand what is it that you need to say to them, and to set an appointment actually is that's the easiest part, since you're likely to be competing with some other agents. How do you handle, what are they looking for at that listing appointment? We're going to talk about that too, so the agents know exactly what to do. So before we get to the listing appointment, the mindset of an expired listing, for you to be able to set an appointment, what are they looking, what do you need to say to them so that you stand out amongst all the dozens, like in Miami, hundreds of agents that are calling them, right? What do you need to say? So there are many scripts out there. I know mine is the most effective one that's gonna get you appointments. Marilena, when you think about it, I talk to my clients about this all the time. If you're an expired listing, you wasted 6 months, what are you looking to hear from an agent that's gonna spark your curiosity, get your attention, and you would actually agree to give him your time? You're looking for someone who's gonna make you feel confident. that they can sell the house, because you don't want to do the same thing. You don't want to list with an agent again and waste another 6 months. So them instilling, is that how you say it? Instilling that confidence in you, the seller, is critical. This is why, and we're going to get to the role play of the listing appointment shortly. My expired script is very simple. Let's role play. Marilena, you're the expired, okay? Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello, is this Marilena?
Yes, it is.
Marilena, this is Jackie. I'm a local real estate agent. I'm sure you know that your house came off the market today, and I'm calling you because I am confident that I can sell your house. And I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you exactly how I can do that for you. Are you available today at 3 o'clock, or would 4 be better for you? That's
it. Jackie,
yeah, go ahead. You could give me an objection, but see, right off the bat, that's what you need to say. So they're like, whoa. And not just what you're saying. You say, I am confident. How I say it. I emphasize that. I emphasize sell your house. Exactly what I'm going to do to get it sold for you and close. And Marilena, I don't know. I don't think I ever told you this because she's a great friend and we talk often. I came up with this script by trial and error, because every script that's out there, agents are using this script, that script. I've used all of them, and none of them were actually getting me appointments. When I started in real estate, they were just getting me more objections. I'm like, so trial and error. Does this work? Does that work? And I realized this is what they're looking to hear. And if you use this script, why wouldn't you set an appointment? Because you're saying it in a way that is, it's like what you're saying and how you're saying don't match. So if I say to you, I am confident that I can sell your house, is that going to work? No, because it's like the video and audio don't match. It's like, they're like, oh, this is weird. I like what she's saying, but the way she's saying it, no. So those are just nuances. So now the big question is, let's say they give you an appointment, and now you got the task of showing up and okay, so what makes you so confident? What exactly are you going to do to get this house sold? I mean, that's how you got the appointment, so they're expecting you to show up and deliver. Yes?
Yes.
Let's talk about this listing appointment now. And I'll role play with you a little bit. You get to the appointment, before you actually, let's say they agree to meet with you, got to pre-qualify. Let's just spend a moment on that, because without pre-qualifying the appointment, your chances of actually showing up and taking the listing, no matter what you do, are not that high. What are your thoughts on pre-qualifying, Marilena?
I think it's the most important thing you need to do before going to the listing appointment, because you need to have a little bit of background. Who's going to be there, why they want to sell, what they owe. You want to get as much information as you can before you get to the appointment.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. But I know agents don't like pre-qualifying. I mean, you work with agents just as much as I do. Why do you think they fight it and they avoid it and they don't want to do it?
I can tell you why.
Tell me.
At the appointment, they hang up, and then they start working on a market analysis, and they really didn't know what was most important to that person, to that seller.
Yeah. And I remember when I started selling real estate, I was afraid of pre-qualifying, like, because I had a pre-qualifying script. I'm like, I am not going to ask them. I'm not going to, like, I'm afraid that they're going to get annoyed with the questions, and I'm afraid they're going to cancel. I just got an appointment. Do you know what I have to go through to get an appointment? And now I'm going to start asking questions that could potentially get this canceled. Yeah. So I remember avoiding it. And my pre-qualifying script, the one my clients use, is very short, because when I started in real estate, like, it was a freaking long thing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to ask all this. Mine is fairly short, but I believe the most important question it's the last one on my script, and it's the one I was most afraid of asking. at the end of our meeting, if you feel confident that hiring me is the best decision you can make, will you be ready to go ahead and do it? I'm like, I'm not asking them that. Are you crazy? And they're going to think I'm going there to take a listing. No, no, I'm just going there to waste my time. I was terrified of that question because I would be afraid that they would say, no, I am not signing anything. And I'm like, what do I do now? Right? Your thoughts on asking that question and all the other questions.
Definitely. I think that most agents are afraid of that. But if you ask it, you know exactly where the seller stands.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And if they say no, you want to ask some additional questions. So if I was role playing with you, right, and I ask you, will you be ready to hire me, and you say, no, I'm not signing anything, what would I do? I would say, and Marilena, I hear what you're saying, and I understand your hesitation. You're an expired listing. I understand you're saying no to that because obviously you already wasted 6 months and you don't want to do the same thing again. Now it sounds to me like you, even though you don't want to list with an agent right now, you do want to sell this property, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And Marilena, my goal in meeting with you is to show you what I do differently from other agents that will get your property sold for the most money possible in the least amount of time in today's market. Now, let me ask you this, Marilena. I know you don't want to list this property with an agent. And at the same time, if you were to perhaps consider an agent, what would you be looking for in that agent that you could consider hiring?
Honestly, Jackie, I would like to know what you're going to do very different that my other agent didn't do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would imagine, bottom line is that is the most important thing to you because even if it's a different agent doing the same thing is likely to end up with the same results, which is an unsold property. And you certainly don't want that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So then let me ask you this, Maria Elena. Hypothetically speaking, if at the end of our meeting today, you feel confident that I have a completely different approach to selling this property and finding the right buyer for your property, and you're confident that I can do that for you, would you consider listing your property with me today?
Jackie, I want to sell my property. And if you can show me the way and how you do things differently, then yes.
Okay. So that's how we take a no and turn it into, without putting pressure on them, and I even use the line hypothetically because they don't want to commit to anything. They don't want to feel like, oh, she's coming and gonna no. And at the same time, it's a logical question. I asked, what would you be looking for? You tell me. And now I take what you said and I insert it in that question and I ask it again. It works. It works. Okay, so now I show up to your house. What is this listing appointment going to be about? So, for the sake of time, because I don't want this to be a 2-hour video and Marilena has a schedule, um, there are certain things you do on a listing appointment when you show up. You're going to take a look at the property. You're going to ask or you're going to confirm some of the pre-qualifying questions, which is about motivation and where they're moving to. That's an opportunity as they're showing you the property, which shouldn't take a long time. Now, some people say, well, you want to look at the house without them, so you save time. It doesn't take maybe 3-5 minutes, and it's an opportunity to build rapport, to ask some questions that you already know the answer to because you asked when you're pre-qualifying. It's great. It's a great, I never said, well, let me look at the house on your own. I always let them show me because I can confirm stuff and build rapport. Okay, great. So then, as we settle down at the kitchen counter or the dining room table, and I'm going to start my presentation, what is it? I'm going to focus specifically on what it is that I do differently. And you and I, Marilena, were talking a little bit before we started filming this video. And we were talking about when you say to a seller, I'm going to hire a professional photographer, I'm going to take amazing pictures, and we're going to do a video, and we're going to post it here, and we're going to put it on hundreds of websites, and I'm going to do an open house, and we'll put a sign in your yard, and I'm going to do brochures and flyers, and so, that's what everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, my photographer is better, and my pictures, but it's what every agent is going to say. Now, there's nothing wrong in actually saying that you do those things if you do them. I never did open houses, and I explained to them why I didn't, because most open houses for the agent to find buyers for the odds of a buyer walking in and buying their home are very low. But agents do open houses to get buyers. It's not for the benefit of that seller. It's for the agent's benefit. And once sellers hear that, they're like, "Oh, I don't want I want to help you sell another house. I'd rather just, yeah." Okay. Anyway, if you do open houses and whatever else you do, say it to them. List it very quickly. So, Marilena, like all other agents, and probably your previous agent, I will get a professional. We're going to take beautiful pictures. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. List all of those things. And what I really want to focus on, Marilena, is what I mentioned to you over the phone. What am I going to do differently to find a buyer for your home? And that's precisely the difference between me and all of the other agents that you've been speaking with. I am not, Marilena, going to sit around and wait for the buyer to find me. Because quite honestly, one of the main reasons, not the only reason, time out, I don't say it to them, this time out between not the only reason, one of the main, because the price is a reason why a house doesn't sell, obviously, but I don't want to go there yet. I'm just going to say one of the main reasons why your home didn't sell is your agent for the last 6 months. I don't know your agent personally, and I'm not saying anything negative about your agent. And I'm sure he or she did the very best that they could. I have no doubt in my mind. Time out. This is also critically important, because if I don't say that, I don't know who this agent is. I don't know their relationship to the agent. So if I don't say that, they may start defending it. Well, but my agent, they know they're in there. I don't want that. So I'm going to say, I don't know him or her, and I'm sure they did the very best that they could. But again, Marilena, one of the main reasons why a home doesn't sell is because agents, they list it. They do all of those things that I just told you that all agents do, that I'm going to do as well. And then they sit around and wait to hopefully get some from all the online websites and everywhere they put the house, that somebody's going to call in. They do an open house hoping that a buyer will walk in. They put a sign in the yard hoping that somebody's going to drive by and call them. So when you think about it, we refer to that as passive marketing. And we already know it's going to take more than that to find a buyer for your property. And that's where I come in. Marilena, see, I'm an active and aggressive agent. I am actually on the phone Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until noon. And what I'm doing is I am contacting people I know and people I don't know, looking for buyers for my sellers like you, and looking for more sellers as well. That is my job as a real estate agent. When you think about it, Marilena, what is my job? Because if my job was to put it on hundreds of websites, Put a sign in front of your yard, of your property. Get professional photos. Do an open house. You could do all that yourself. You don't need me for that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the reason why you want to hire an agent like myself, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till noon, I speak with 30 to 40 people a day about buying and selling real estate. And my goal, Maria Elena, is my goal and my commitment to you is I will find the buyer for your property. You and I both know that buyer is out there. My job is to go find them. That is what you would expect an agent to do for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. You found what you're looking for. Let's go ahead and take a look at this market analysis so we can agree on a price. Get your home on the market and get it sold. Okay. Now, I could expand on this a lot, and I used to. I mean, this is exactly what I used to say to sellers on a listing presentation when I was selling real estate. They would look at me, and I would even give a script, and I say, I call expired listings like you. I call them every day because a lot of them want to sell, and I can cross sell. The more listings I have, buyers call on this property and they end up buying that property. We cross sell. I used to say that. I call for sale bonus for the same. The more listings I have, the more buyers I attract, and the more I benefit every seller that hires me. So that's another dialogue. And when I used to make just listed, just sold calls, circle prospecting calls, I used to tell them, I'm gonna get phone numbers, 300 or 400 of your neighbors, and I'm gonna personally contact every single one, 300 to 400 of your neighbors, to let them know your house is for sale and ask them if they happen to know anyone. And they would look at me, and I would sometimes even tell them the script. And when I call, I'm gonna say this, sellers would look at me going like, you do that? Like, no one is doing that. Yeah.
They're
And
not explaining it. They're not explaining exactly what they're going to do
well,
to that
yes, yes. And then there's that added thing that even if they were to explain, most agents, you and I know, they're not doing it. They're not. So if you're not going to do it, then don't lie to the seller and say you're going to do it. I also, Maria Elena, think about how great accountability this is. You say you're going to do it, you better do it.
do
And
it.
then if you're really, really like committed to doing it, I would say it to you like this, Maria Elena, you're welcome to come to my office. Here's my address. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. till noon, and watch me, watch how I work. Watch me do exactly what I'm telling you I'm going to do. You're welcome to come by and see what's happening. I have all of my scripts in my office, and I'm going to spend 3 hours, and I'm going to be calling and speaking with some people about your property. Come by and you'll see how I'm going to find a buyer for your home. Now, sometimes agents say, well, do you really find buyers like that? Do you find buyers and sellers through prospecting, Maria Elena?
Of course you do.
I mean, that's how every property I ever listed and sold, that's how I found them. Yeah. I didn't work with buyers. I didn't need to look. I referred buyers out. I didn't need to look for buyers because my listings brought in buyers, and it's exactly the cross-selling, which you also get to explain it to them. There are other things that you do differently, which is marketing the property to top agents in the area. There are ways to do that. Some agents may do that, most don't do that. There are other details that separate you, that will get the seller to see what you do differently. But the number one is the dialogue that we just went through. So give me some final thoughts for the agents watching, Maria Elena, on this whole, because I've been talking more than you.
So I love the way you elaborate. You're not afraid to speak and elaborate on how you're going to do it, right? It's already, your script is internalized, so it's very conversational.
Mm-hmm.
You already know what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, your voice inflection, right? And I think that most agents are afraid to go that deep, deep dive, is what I call it, deep dive into that conversation of how they are going to do it differently. I loved it. I love the way you were able to deep dive. And if I were a seller, yeah, that I really wanted to sell, I would use you.
Yeah. Why do you think they're afraid to say it, to deep dive, like
I
all your
think
experience?
yeah, I think they're afraid to deep dive because it may open up other cans of worms, other
Mm,
conversations that they don't know how to handle.
mm-hmm.
Okay, or they just get tongue tied and they don't know how to follow the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and in the beginning, 26 years ago, everything you just said happened to me. You don't get better by avoiding the things you don't know how to do. You get better by doing them, and you're going to put your foot in your mouth. Yes, you'll get tongue tied. Sometimes you say stupid things. I've done plenty of it, embarrass myself. I've done it all. And then you learn and you get better and you improve and you improve and you improve. And it's practice. Practice and practice on your own, have role play partners, read scripts, practice scripts, but you practice by doing it too. At some point you got to quit practicing and just get out there and go, okay, I'm gonna do my very best, right? Which again, sometimes I talk to my clients about being a professional student. I role play every day. I never pick up the phone and call anybody. I just role play. Like, really? Yeah, I'll practice the listing appointment, but I don't want to go on any because I'm scared. You don't get better by avoiding putting yourself out there. So,
True. Very true. Absolutely.
well, thank you, beautiful, for taking me. Love it. Anybody watching, if you have any comments or questions, just put it on the comments below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Bye,
Jackie.
Gina.
Bye.